How's it going, folks? I'm Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming. Today we are unboxing and reviewing the AOC AGON Pro AG254FG monitor. I'm going to start by walking you through the specs, then I'll open it up, let you take a look at it. After that, we'll go to the review portion where I'll give you my thoughts on it, and then we'll go to High Ground Gaming's final score. Stick around. So this is a 24.5 inch monitor. It has a 1920 by 1080 resolution. It has a 1000:1 contrast ratio and HDR 400. It also has a 1 millisecond response time, which is pretty good. But the thing that really makes this monitor stand out is its 360 hertz refresh rate. That means players who use this will be able to game at the highest speeds without having to worry about any sort of ghosting whatsoever. It's also compatible with consoles at the high speed modes that they offer, so the Xbox Series S or X and the PS5 can both get 120 hertz out of this. On top of that, it has G-Sync and NVIDIA Reflex Analyzer, and it has two 5-watt speakers, which both have DTS. In terms of ports, it has two HDMI 2.0 ports, and it also has a display port. It comes with a screen shield to help reduce glare. It is VESA certified. It comes with a stand that has 130 millimeters of height adjustment and also has a logo projector on it, so it projects a little light image of the AOC or the AGON logo directly onto the desk below it, which I think is kind of a funny addition, but sure, why not? And then it also works with the AOC G menu software. That's about for the specs though. Let's open it up. All right, let's try to do this carefully. Oh, there we go. Man, that thing didn't want to budge. All right, let's see what we got in here. Got a small box in here. It looks like a couple of mounts of some kind. We've got some adhesive on the back. They look like some sort of clips. Oh, they're probably cable management clips. We've got a hex wrench with a Phillips head screwdriver on the other side. Inside, we've got power brick, power cable for the brick. We've got a controller for the monitor, which is pretty interesting. We've got an HDMI cable and a DisplayPort cable. We got a USB cable, which I'm not sure what that's for. Quick start guide. Here we have the back plate. You can see there's a little track in there where it can be adjusted, and down here is the projector we were talking about. It has a switch on top here that can be adjusted. I think this probably does brightness. Here's the base for the back plate. Looks like that just sort of fits into place, and then there's a screw on the bottom to tighten it up. And it's got a little tab on the screw, making it toolless. You don't have to use a screwdriver if you don't want to. All right, now for the big reveal. All right, here we go. There's the monitor itself. Got AGON right in front in big letters, NVIDIA G-Sync. It's got a pretty slim bezel along the top here. The back is pretty chunky. You can see that there is some lights on the back here. I think I forgot to mention those earlier. Let's throw it on the stand. A couple slats in the back, and it just clicks into place. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Let's see what was in this box down here. I think that will be the rim, the shield. All right, so here we have the plates. We've got 3 of them in total. This one has a little trap door on the top there. And you can see that they are smooth black plastic with AGON symbols on the outside, and they are a smooth, dense, velvety texture on the inside, which should be great for blacking out any lights. Nothing is going to bounce off that. We won't know how the screen handles until we plug it in and play some games on it, but I'm impressed with this stand right off the bat. It's adjustable in terms of height. You can rotate from side to side, and then you can also rotate down and up. So you've got a pretty full range of rotation with this, and you can get some pretty good height adjustments. As I mentioned before, it's also VESA mountable, so really you can mount this in just about any way you want. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, play some games on it, and we'll be right back with the review. Stick around. All right, I've spent some time with the AOC AGON Pro and I'm ready to talk about it, but real quick, before we get into that, please hit the like and subscribe button. All right, we're gonna start off by talking about the build quality like we usually do, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to start off with a little bit of a negative here. The monitor that we received came with not one, but 2 dead pixels on the screen. There was one that was kind of on the bottom right that I didn't really notice until the very end of the 2 weeks that I was testing this monitor. And then there was one that was way more towards the center in the top left quadrant, and that one was unfortunately a little distracting. Now, to be fair, AOC's warranty does cover this, so if you buy one of these monitors and you have this issue, you can return it and get one that hopefully does not have any dead pixels, but I still feel like it's worth pointing out. We've already talked a little bit about the black casing, the 1/4-inch bezel, and all that, so I won't spend too much time on the actual structure of it, but I did want to point out that it has a RGB strip along the bottom and then 3 on either side of the back. And these are pretty cool because they're actually programmable. You can use the built-in software in the monitor to change it to one of 8 different patterns and adjust color. Also, that little slider on the front of the projector that I thought might have been a brightness slider, it's actually not at all. It slides between 2 different projections. One of them just says the word Agon, while the other one has the Agon logo. The projection doesn't utilize any patterns that move, but you can adjust the color on it, so you can still make it conform to whatever palette you're looking for. Speaking of the built-in software, in addition to the remote that comes with it, you can also control it via a stick on the back. That's pretty handy for if you don't really want the remote sitting on your desk all the time and you still want to be able to change stuff around without having to hook it up. We also tested out the 2 built-in 5-watt speakers, and honestly, they sound pretty good for monitor speakers.
You need to hurry and get back here. I don't know how long this ship will hold together.
I don't think there's that many people who are going to be spending this kind of money on a monitor and not invest in any sort of external speakers for their setup, but maybe if you're going to buy that later on down the line and you're looking for something to tide you over, these will do the job. Now let's talk about the color and the picture on this monitor, because those are pretty important and those are kind of hard things to gauge just by numbers. Overall, I was pretty impressed. 24.5 inches is a really good size for a 1080p monitor. You don't really want to get a 1080p monitor in larger sizes than that because the distance between each pixel becomes greater and the resolution actually appears worse even though it's the same number of pixels. Also, because it's an IPS panel, color and accuracy are something of a given, but this one was really impressive. I liked every single game that I played on it. I thought movies, TV shows, trying out Netflix and all that, all of it looked very good. Brightness goes up to 400 nits, which is pretty good. There are brighter monitors out there for sure, but I feel like this is as bright as most people are going to need. But now let's talk about the main reason anybody's going to be buying this monitor. Let's talk about gaming performance. So I tested this out playing a couple things. I played some Halo Infinite because I'm more of a solo campaign guy in general, and I really wanted to test it out playing that and the fast reactions and all that sort of thing, and I was generally very, very impressed by it. However, I have a 1060 GPU, so I couldn't really push more than 80 frames on that advanced of a game. Don't come at me for my GPU. I'm going to buy a new one. I was waiting for the prices to stabilize, and now the 4000 series are coming out, and I don't want to buy a new GPU a couple months before the next generation comes out, all right? Sue me. I will get a better one, I promise. Then I tested it out playing a little bit of Valorant, and this one I could get pretty close to that 360 hertz, and I have to say, the motion in that was absolutely buttery smooth. Absolutely no screen tearing, no motion blur, no ghosting, none of that. No issues whatsoever. It looked absolutely stunning. The 360 hertz refresh rate and the 1 millisecond response time make for a almost zero latency gaming experience. On top of that, it also has 2 other amazing features, G-Sync and NVIDIA Analyzer. Now, these only apply to people with NVIDIA GPUs. If you have an AMD GPU or you're going to get one of the ones that Intel is coming out with, then this isn't going to help you at all. And honestly, you probably might want to look into a different monitor, because these are two of the best reasons to buy this monitor. G-Sync matches your monitor's refresh rate to whatever your graphics card's frame rate is. So they're sort of locking step between the images produced and the images displayed so that they're synchronized. Without G-Sync, then it's just the monitor going as fast as it can and the graphics card going as fast as it can, and them not always quite being completely in step, which can cause screen tearing. NVIDIA Reflex Analyzer is a similar concept, but it's not your graphics card talking to your monitor, it's your peripherals talking to your monitor. It's your mouse and your keyboard's reactions on the actual screen. This is a pretty new technology that is only in the most recent monitors, and so far, honestly, I haven't noticed that big of a difference in actual gameplay performance, but if you're at the competitive edge of gaming, then it's probably something that you're interested in. On top of that, the built-in software also offers a few options to really fine-tune your monitor's performance to whatever you're actually playing. There are several preset gaming modes that put your monitor on the ideal settings for specific kinds of games. There's an FPS mode, an RTS mode, a racing mode, a G-Sync esports mode, and then 3 different gamer profiles, which you can actually set yourself and easily switch between. All of these can also be controlled very easily on the controller. In addition to that, the controller can also be used to switch between the display port and the 2 different HDMIs. So if you have your computer hooked up to the display port and you want to hook up a PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, whatever to one of the HDMIs, you can just click a button to switch between them. Other features are a built-in reticle for shooters, shadow control, quick switch, LED, overdrive, and a frame counter. That's about it for the features though. Let's get down to the verdict. So the AOC AGON Pro AG254FG MSRP is at $649.99. I'm not going to mess around with you, that's pretty expensive. Alienware, Asus, Acer, and MSI all have very similar monitors on the market right now. Specs-wise, they're very nearly identical, with the only real feature that this one has to offer over those being the controller that it comes with and the projector, which are both neat features, but not really worth spending hundreds of extra dollars on. Right now, the Alienware AW2125H can be purchased for as little as $379. Now, the MSRP of most of these monitors was around where the AOC one is, around $650 when they first came out. But they have since significantly taken a dive in price, which makes them a much better bargain by pretty much any metric. Now, if AOC chooses to take a similar dive and start selling this monitor at those prices, then it's going to be a lot more competitive. But for right now, we're having a hard time recommending this particular monitor when there are other similar monitors for significantly lower prices. So we're tentatively giving this one a 4.1 out of 5, with most of the points coming off on account of the price. Overall, we think it's a very good monitor. We really enjoyed our time with it. We think the picture looks excellent, other than those 2 dead pixels we got. We think the gaming performance is off the charts, and we think gamers who need really fast, really clear motion on their terminals, who are willing to pay extra for the fastest frame rates possible and the smoothest, cleanest imaging, will be happy with this monitor, but they might get a similar product for much cheaper, so maybe later. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us today. Why don't you go ahead and drop down into the comments below and let us know where you think AOC fits on the current lineup of high-end performance monitors. While you're at it, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. We've got lots more content coming real soon, and we'd hate for you to miss any of it. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Happy gaming.